Have you ever noticed how the wisest people in their later years often say the least? It's not because they've run out of things to say, it's because they've learned the true power of silence. After decades of experience, reflection, and growth, something shifts. You start to see that not every thought needs a voice, and not every situation requires your opinion. Still, it can feel strange, like your voice isn't landing the way it once did. Whether it's during a lively family gathering or a quiet conversation with a longtime friend, there's a sense that the world is moving faster, talking louder. But aging doesn't mean fading. In fact, it offers a new kind of strength, the kind that speaks louder through presence than through words. It's about making fewer statements but stronger impressions. And that begins by choosing to live with more clarity, more calm, and more purpose. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, this video will guide you through 5 simple yet powerful habits that allow your presence to shine without shouting. These are not quick fixes, they are lasting shifts that can enrich your relationships, your health, and your sense of peace. Here's the truth. The world doesn't always recognize the value of quiet wisdom. We live in a culture that celebrates speed, noise, and constant expression. But real influence doesn't need to announce itself. The most impactful elders don't demand attention, they command it by how they live, how they listen, and how they treat others. You don't have to prove anything. You've already earned the right to slow down and lead by example, not by volume. Imagine walking into a room and not needing to say a word, yet everyone feels your energy steady, grounded, and calm. Imagine your children and grandchildren looking to you not just for advice, but for quiet reassurance. That's what intentional aging looks like. It's not about being the loudest voice, it's about being the clearest presence. Stick around until the end, because the last habit might completely reshape how you see aging from this day forward. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below and let us know which habit speaks to you most. We'd love to hear your wisdom. Number 1. The power of intentional listening. One of the quiet superpowers that often emerges with age is the ability to listen, not just casually, but deeply and with intention. In today's fast-paced world, where everyone's racing to be heard, someone who pauses and truly listens stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. It's rare, and it's powerful. Giving someone your full presence is more than politesse transformative. What's amazing is that this kind of listening doesn't require anything flashy: no youth, no high-status job, no advanced degree. It only requires that you slow down and care. Older adults especially often have an edge here. With time and experience, the urgency to dominate a conversation fades. In its place grows the wisdom to observe, to understand, and to value silence as much as speech. Looking back, many of us can admit, we used to jump into conversations just to be heard. We corrected people. We interrupted. We tried to win debates. But the older you get, the more you realize that people won't remember your clever points as much as they remember how safe and respected they felt around you. And being heard, truly heard, is one of the deepest forms of human respect. There's also a surprising bonus that comes with listening. Well, insight. When you're not constantly planning your response, you pick up on the details: the tension behind a joke, the hesitation in someone's voice, the emotion hiding beneath the words. This is how wisdom grows, not from speaking, but from noticing. And the better you notice, the more meaning you bring into every conversation. Take someone like Linda Crawford, a 69-year-old retired social worker living in Minneapolis. Linda used to be the one at family dinners leading every conversation. But after attending a mindfulness course, she made a conscious decision to become a better listener. The change was immediate. Her teenage grandchildren, who used to give her one-word answers, suddenly began sharing their lives in detail. Her daughter-in-law, once distant, started calling her for advice, not because Linda offered it unsolicited, but because her calm, listening presence invited trust. Even her local book club noticed. "I don't say as much anymore," Linda laughed, "but somehow, people say more to me than ever before." If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling unheard or dismissed, remember this: The power doesn't always lie in your words, it lies in how you make others feel heard. When people sense you're really paying attention, they drop their guard. They connect. And that's something far more valuable than simply being right or being loud. Here's the truth. Listening with intent isn't passive, that's a skill, a choice, a gift. It says, you matter. Your story matters. And in a world where most people are used to being rushed or brushed off, that kind of presence can change everything. It builds trust, softens conflict, and creates bonds that last beyond words. So next time you sit with someone, whether it's at a park bench, a doctor's office, or your own kitchen table, practice the pause. Ask one more question. Let their silence stretch without filling it. You may discover that the person in front of you isn't just talking, they're revealing something sacred. And your quiet, respectful attention is exactly what they need most. Number 2, letting actions do the talking. As the years roll by, there comes a quiet realization. Talking doesn't always lead to understanding. At a certain point, especially after 60, you begin to see that words can only go so far. You've offered guidance, told stories, given heartfelt advice. You've repeated yourself with love and concern. But often, it's not what you say that people remember, it's what you do without saying a word. This rings especially true with family. Your children, your grandchildren, they won't always follow your advice. They might dismiss your concerns, tune out your lectures, or even argue back. But what they will notice is how you live. When you model the values you believe in, that sticks with them far longer than any conversation ever could. You don't have to announce, "This is how to live well." Instead, be the person who wakes up early, takes care of their body, stays curious, and approaches life with calm and care. The message gets through, not because you said it, but because they saw it. It becomes part of their memory. And one day, when they need direction, they'll remember how you lived, not what you said. With age comes the wisdom to stop trying to control the people you love. You can't steer someone else's life. You can't argue someone into peace. But you can be a living example of the very balance, discipline, and joy you wish for them. And that example becomes your silent, steady influence, and influence that lingers far longer than words. Take the story of George Whitman, a 73-year-old retired firefighter from Portland, Oregon. George used to constantly remind his grandson to stay off the phone during family dinners. It only led to tension. One day, George quietly started leaving his own phone in the hallway during meals. He stopped saying a word about it, but after a few weeks, his grandson followed suit. George didn't win the moment with a lecture, he won it with leadership. Quiet, powerful leadership. And this way of living isn't just good for others, it's healthy for you too. Whether it's tending your garden, fixing the loose step, or painting the porch, action keeps you anchored. It draws you out of overthinking and into the rhythm of doing. It reminds you that purpose isn't found in talking about what matters, it's in showing up for it. If you find yourself tempted to correct someone or explain the same point again, try this instead. Pause, breathe, and lead by doing. Fold the laundry. Pack the healthy lunch. Take the morning walk. Your choices ripple outward quietly, but powerfully. You don't need to say, "This is how to live." You just need to live it. And here's something that matters even more. Your actions create legacy. Long after you're gone, it's the habits, the rituals, and the example you set that will echo in your family's lives. You won't be remembered for the speeches you gave, but for the way you showed love, handled stress, and embraced life with grace. If you've read this far, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me, and don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any new videos. Thank you for being here and supporting this channel, it truly means a lot. Number 3, the quiet power of letting others speak. As the years pass, many of us feel an urge to pass on what we've learned. We've lived, we've seen, we've felt. And naturally, we want to help. But sometimes, the best help we can offer is our silence. Not the kind that ignores, but the kind that invites. Younger people aren't always searching for solutions. Often, they just want space to speak, and someone who won't interrupt that process. Staying quiet when someone else is speaking doesn't mean you're weak or indifferent. It means you're strong enough to let the moment be about them. It's not about agreeing or approving, it's about valuing their experience. Listening without interruption is a choice, a rare one. And in today's fast-paced, attention-starved world, that kind of presence is both healing and memorable. In a society where everyone fights to be heard, your ability to listen becomes your superpower. You stop needing the spotlight. You stop needing to win the argument or steer the moment. And in that calm, people begin to trust you. Not because you dominate the room, but because you hold space for others without judgment. That quiet presence becomes magnetic. Think back to your recent conversations. How often did you finish someone's sentence? How many times did you jump in with your own story the second they paused? It's easy to do. Most of us are used to filling silence as quickly as possible. But aging offers the gift of patience, the wisdom to wait, to pause, to honor someone else's rhythm instead of imposing our own. I knew a man named Walter Green, 75, a retired engineer from Ohio. At family gatherings, he was never the loudest voice. In fact, you could go the whole dinner without hearing much from him. But the moment someone needed real advice or just needed to feel understood, they'd pull a chair beside him. Why? Because Walter didn't interrupt. He listened with his whole face, with his full attention. And when he finally responded, even briefly, his words always felt earned. Not because he talked often, but because he listened always. Letting others speak, especially when you want to jump in, is one of the toughest lessons age can teach. It means you understand that people don't always need fixing, they need to feel seen. It means you've matured enough to let them walk their path without grabbing the wheel. And that kind of trust? That's love without condition. So the next time someone is speaking, resist the urge to fill the space. Hold back for just a few extra seconds. Give them the chance to finish their thought completely. You may be amazed by what you learn not only about them, but about your own ability to be present in the moment. And here's the beautiful twist. When people feel heard by you, they become better listeners in return. Your calm becomes contagious. Your stillness sets the tone. And slowly, you create relationships that don't need noise to feel meaningful. They thrive in quiet understanding. Number 4, putting pen to paper with purpose. In an age where voices are raised and attention spans are short, there's something deeply grounding about writing something down by hand. It might seem old-fashioned, especially with phones, emails, and text messages always buzzing. But for those of us entering life's later chapters, writing takes on a different kind of significance. It becomes more than communication. It becomes legacy. When you choose to write instead of speak, you give your thoughts time to breathe. You strip away the noise. It's not about perfect grammar or poetic style, it's about honesty. Whether you're scribbling down a memory, writing a letter to your child, or noting your thoughts after a walk, each word becomes an intentional act of clarity. A way to preserve truth without the pressure of a conversation. Unlike speaking, which can be impulsive or misunderstood, writing allows you to pause, to choose your words with care. It turns fleeting emotions into lasting expressions. And in that stillness, we often discover what we truly think, how we really feel, and what actually needs to be said. It's amazing how the smallest written things can outlive us. An old birthday card tucked in a drawer, a sticky note on a fridge, a shopping list in a familiar handwriting. These scraps become sacred. Because what they really say is, I was here, I loved, I thought of you. Writing also gives shape to the chaos we carry. When your heart is heavy or your mind feels cluttered, writing is like opening a window. You're not bottling up your emotions or setting them free, giving them form and flow. That act of reflection often reveals new understanding and peace. Over time, life fills us with stories, some bright, some shadowed. Putting those stories on paper helps us decide which ones to hold close and which ones we're ready to let go of. It becomes a quiet way of healing. a method for making peace with our past and building a bridge to those who come after us. Let me tell you about Marjorie Dean, a 78-year-old retired librarian from Vermont. She never thought of herself as a writer, but every evening she'd jot a few lines into a notebook she kept on her kitchen table. Thoughts, memories, recipes, family jokes, whatever came to mind. After her passing, her granddaughter found the notebook. Inside were pages filled with wisdom, warmth, and laughter. It became a treasure. "I hear her voice when I read these," the granddaughter said. "It's like she's still here, speaking to me." That's the power of written words. They don't just record facts, they capture feeling. They allow us to speak across time, to remind future generations of who we were and what we cared about. You don't need an audience. You don't need approval. You just need the courage to start. And here's something special. When you write, you also listen to yourself. You uncover layers of thought that never surface in daily conversation. You start to understand what's really important, what deserves your energy, and what you're ready to let go of. If you're still reading and this resonated with you, comment 4 below to let me know you're watching. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a post that matters to your journey. Thank you for being part of this space. Number 5. The quiet strength of deep listening. With age comes a deeper appreciation for things that once seemed small, like the gift of truly listening. Not listening to reply, defend, or impress, but listening to understand. As the years pass, you start to realize that the quiet moments, the unspoken cues, the pauses in a conversation, these are where real connection lives. And the older you get, the more powerful that silence becomes. Earlier in life, we often feel the need to speak up, to prove we know something, to make ourselves heard in a crowded room. But eventually, something shifts. You realize that wisdom doesn't need to interrupt. It watches. It waits. It listens. And in doing so, it gathers far more than any loud voice ever could. Being a good listener means being fully present. It means setting aside your thoughts, your next point, your need to fix things, and just letting someone be heard. It tells the person in front of you, you're seen, you're important. And that feeling of being heard? It's unforgettable. It fosters trust, closeness, and healing in ways that advice never can. This isn't about becoming invisible or holding your tongue out of politeness. It's about shifting how you engage. Instead of dominating the conversation, you guide it with empathy. You use your silence not to disappear but to support. A nod, a well-placed question, or just allowing someone space to speak freely, those small actions build connection that runs deep. Here's something interesting. When people know you truly listen, they start to value your words more. Why? Because they feel understood by you. And once they know you get them, they begin to seek your perspective, not because you talk the most, but because you've shown that you care the most. Real listening creates respect, not just rapport. Let me tell you about Clara Mitchell, a retired teacher from Atlanta, now 79. She's not one to dominate a conversation, but her children and grandchildren always end up in her kitchen when something's heavy on their hearts. She listens with warmth now, quick fixes, no interruptions, just her full attention. And because of that, she's become the go-to person in the family. Even friends call her just to talk, because with Clara, you feel safe, heard, held. In a society that rushes to reply, the person who pauses to listen stands out. That kind of stillness is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. It makes room for clarity, vulnerability, and truth. It allows conversations to slow down enough for real meaning to surface. And in that stillness, bonds are strengthened. Listening also sharpens your own inner voice. When you're not focused on crafting the next sentence, you begin to notice your instincts, your insights, your empathy at work. You become a better communicator, not by speaking more, but by absorbing more of what others share and learning how to respond with calm intention rather than impulse. So the next time someone begins to speak, pause. Don't rush to relate. Don't hurry to help. Just be there, fully. You may find that the act of listening teaches you more about the world and yourself than any words ever could. As we grow older, life slowly teaches us which voices deserve our attention and which ones we need to turn down, including our own. This isn't about fading into the background or becoming irrelevant. It's about being more deliberate. It's about understanding that when words are fewer, they tend to carry more impact. Sometimes, it's not our voice that brings the greatest change but our calm presence and steady actions. The 5 principles we explored today share a common thread. They guide you away from life's distractions and toward a deeper sense of clarity. After 70, the goal shifts from trying to prove your value to simply living it. It's no longer about volume, it's about wisdom. Not about constant talking, but intentional living, where every word and gesture holds true meaning. Always remember, your value isn't based on how much you contribute to the conversation. It's reflected in how deeply others feel your presence, how consistently you lead by example, and the grace with which you move through life. Don't shy away from saying less. Instead, welcome the peace that silence offers. Let your daily actions speak on your behalf. You've earned the right to be discerning. You've earned the insight to know when words are necessary and what a quiet smile says more. And you've earned the joy of living each day not bound by noise or pressure, but led by peace, confidence, and inner calm. So wherever you are in life's journey, carry this with you. Silence isn't weakness, it's strength. Stillness isn't emptiness, it's power. And your choice is intentional, kind, and grounded can move people far more than 1,000 empty words ever could. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know one insight that stuck with you and how you might apply it in your life. Your feedback fuels us and reminds us why these conversations matter. If you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use it today. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful content to uplift and inform. Thanks again for watching, and we hope to see you again in the next video.